So about One Piece. One Piece is probably the most well-respected series. Even though it has been going on for so long, the story still feels fresh and not dated at all. It has been part of different generations of kids, and what a lot of people can relate to. Even other successful manga authors down the road, they mentioned how they grew up reading One Piece. So One Piece is a really remarkable phenomenon. It is very unlikely for another series to be able to replicate it. Even now, the ending for this series is still really far off. I remember making jokes with my friends about One Piece outliving the second generation of shonen, shows that were supposed to take the old big three spots. So like My Hero Academia, Black Clover, and all those other shows people mention. I was really joking about that when I said it. One Piece was already going on years before any of these mangas debuted, so to try and argue that a series that old could outlive fresh ones would be a stretch. But now that I'm looking at it, One Piece might actually end up doing it. It was already announced that My Hero Academia is coming close to its finale, as well as other shows like Fire Force. They are just getting into their final stages or wrapping them up already, and it's crazy that even with that much time put into the series, it still feels like One Piece will still have a decent amount of years left in it. So I wanted to talk about it today, about how many years we could be talking before One Piece is officially over. Before that though, like and subscribe for future content. Alright, so first I just want to see off the top of my head what we have left to conclude. Obviously Wano still needs to be finished, but it's basically over. It will probably be done by late quarter 1 or early quarter 2 of 2022. But after Wano, we actually have a decent amount of stuff that needs to be addressed. I won't name them in a particular order, but we have Laugh Tale, Elbaf, the Sabo situation, Mihawk since Zoro needs to fight him, the ancient weapons, the history of the D-Clan, the Voice Century history, and Im-sama. So just off the top of my head, we have a bunch of stuff that we need to cover. I mean, some of these can be done in the same arc, but there are still lots of things that we did not cover that will have to have their own arcs. Some like Elbaf could end up being pretty long. None of them will probably be as long as Wano, since it was a whole war arc. But I can definitely see some of these arcs being at least a year long, maybe even a little bit more, since some of them will have to address multiple things in the same arc. Just off that list alone, if I had to estimate how long it will take to cover all of that, I would say about 5, maybe 6 years, which is funny because I'm pretty sure Oda came out and said he plans to end it around that time frame, but that is most likely a low ball on Oda's part because he's already known for having things end up being longer than he planned. In the first place, he never planned on One Piece being as long as it is. He didn't think it would be necessary to have it go on for so long, but then he realizes that certain things would need more explanation, and that trend continued on, and then we ended up getting an expansion of the world. I mean, we probably won't have anything else new revealed. We already have a lot on the table, and what is supposed to be the endgame of the story is already established. So at least for now, we can say that nothing we aren't aware of already won't be introduced. There won't be another big bad behind Rocks or something like that. And yeah, I think Rocks will probably end up being the last enemy of the story, since he was never confirmed dead or alive. They didn't try to hide it either, or be secretive about it. They just straight up said that they don't know if he's dead. As for the shorter arcs, those would probably be things like Zoro beating Mihawk. Honestly, that will probably come after they find Laugh Tale, since right now Zoro is putting Luffy's dream in front of his, unless Mihawk shows up and is set up to fight against Zoro before that. But for right now, that is not something that will happen until after they find Laugh Tale. That would honestly be a good movie or something. Like after the story is over, they could turn that into a movie of Zoro officially becoming the strongest swordsman. I saw a video of talking earlier about the Straw Hats possibly disbanding after Laugh Tale, and honestly there's a pretty good chance of that happening. After Luffy becomes king of the pirates, there wouldn't be a reason for the crew to stay together. Besides the ones that are achieved indirectly by Luffy becoming king of the pirates, some of the Straw Hats will need to still achieve their own dreams, like Zoro or possibly Sanji. Actually, they might stick together now that I am thinking about it, because only Zoro has a dream that will not be granted by Luffy becoming king of the pirates. They will probably sail together for a few years, but eventually disband, since they will probably want to retire and settle down. The Straw Hats will still keep in touch, just not as a crew anymore. But yeah, as a highball, I imagine this going on for 8 years as a maximum. I mean, they are definitely going to keep coming out with One Piece content even after it finishes, just because of how much of a cash cow the series has become. But as for the official story, 8 years as a maximum is when it's going to end, with the Zoro thing happening after it is officially over, as like an extension of the series. But yeah, that is pretty much all I had to say. If you enjoyed, like and subscribe for future content. Peace.